Hey guys, welcome back to the Modern Samurai Project podcast, nicknamed the Get Better Podcast, where we bring people on who have selected to be in the self-reliant lifestyle. That includes fitness, martial arts, firearms, and the entire gambit for those people that take responsibilities for their own lives. Today we have Drew Estell of Baer Solutions joining us. So, as you guys know, I don't like to do intros for people, so I'm going to go ahead and let Drew talk a little bit about himself and his background as reference, even though we don't care about resumes around here. Just kidding. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah. So, Drew Estell, Baer Solutions. It's always weird talking about yourself, like what's your resume, your background. Was in fifth group for a little over 10 years, fifth Special Forces group. There I was on the Halo team for about 7.5 years. Then I went to Direct Action, specialized company called the SIF for a little bit. Then I was also the program manager for an active shooter program we were running for a little while. Active shooter kind of thing going on, low biz, concealed carry program. And then I got out due to medical reasons, so I got medically discharged. Started the company Baer Solutions. I've been running that since 2017. So I've been going through that. It's gone well, got a lot of good feedback and everything else. I think it's going well. And I just teaching and doing that whole thing, really. Other than that, married, got a wife and daughter. My wife makes awesome bear hats, which I take to my classes and I wear it, But other than that, that's pretty much it, man. I like working out, long walks on the beach with everyone's favorite Scott here. And that's about it. So.
Outstanding. But that's not about it. There's more.
Is
right?
it? There is.
So there is, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Much like Matt Little, who I had on a couple episodes ago, it's interesting because now I'm starting to stack up podcasts and stuff. So I got a timeline shit, right? That will eventually not work out well. Anyway, so he grew up as a martial artist like yourself, but you were in fifth group?
Fifth,
right? Yep. So he was reserves SF and 20th, cop, all these other things, right? But start off with martial arts. You also do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Yep.
And you just got your blue belt. Am I wrong about that? What'd you just get?
Blue belt. Yep.
You just got your blue belt. That's awesome. Even though you've been doing Jiu-Jitsu and combatives for a very long time, right?
Yeah, on and off for a while. I wish I did more of it while I was in, but it's always been kind of on and off. And now it's kind of my thing to, get to go. I go on a base to the gym there, hang out with the guys, instructor, and now I'm going almost every day. So I finally took it seriously, got a gi. But yeah, before joining the Army, I trained at an MMA gym, which means I got beat up a lot by guys that were really, really good. And then I joined the Army, and I kind of did it on and off, but I finally bought a gi. And after injuries and neck surgery and back and all this other stuff, I was finally able to. I'm at a point now I can do it most days of the week. I just got to kind of take it easy. So
cool. All right. And then everybody get ready with your beverages. We are at the 346 mark. And you also do CrossFit.
Drink. Heck yeah. Wife is a CrossFit trainer, so that kind of means I do it too. Do kind of a hybridized version. I got a buddy, Joe. I've been posting a lot about him. I don't know if you've seen it lately. He was on that live feed sitting next to me when we joined.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He literally, when he has a beard, he looks like my twin brother. Like, people have walked up to us at the gym because he's a Olympic weightlifting coach, former SF guy, Olympic weightlifting coach at the CrossFit gym my wife goes to, or coaches out here in town, CrossFit Solidified. And people walked up to both of us. She's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you guys were brothers." I'm like, "You're holy shit, you're right. Absolutely. We just don't tell anybody, So people would think we're brothers, but we do. We didn't realize it. We're literally built the same, but he's got a huge butt on him. And other than that, we do look just alike. So I've got ginger beards and all that. Nice. But I've been working out with him. So he's been doing the programming, kind of a hybrid thing right now, but a lot of strength-based core, heavy lifting, deadlift, cleans, jerks, all that. Stuff like that.
Awesome. And then, the great internet mystery out there, the name of your company is Baer Solutions. It's got this really cool logo of a bear with a face with two crossed arrows. Yeah. What the hell is that all about? Your name's not Baer. You do kind of look like a bear.
A little bit.
A cute little cub.
I think I like to use the word handsome, but yeah, cute. I'll take it. Any compliment from me, I'll take. But yeah.
So where did that come from?
So kind of the whole I guess you could kind of ties in the whole methodology of Baer solutions, but a couple of reasons. One, who doesn't like bears? They're awesome. Every time I go to the zoo, I want to go see the bears. Like I've just always loved them. And when I learned Arabic, it was the only words I can remember, right? Was bear, which is dub. So I was like, oh, bears, right? But really, I just kind of tired of the tactical affliction, that's out there. You know what I mean? Like this is the super elite death killer, elite whatever dynamicals trading company LLC, and it's like there's a skull on it that's got flames, looks like a Hell's Angel logo with a spear. I'm like, dude, I would rather someone wear my shirt and you would think you would have bought an REI or something, it's just kind of more who I am. But so that, and then when I was on a few reasons, so I was on my assault team over in the CIF, and we were CRIF, and we were Bravo cell. So we would joke around, we were Baer cell. How that came to be on a deployment, I have no idea, but it just did. And we made little patches with like bears on them, and then put like our, one, Bear 2, all that.
Yeah.
And I still have it too. But so that, and then if we had a boy, we were going to name our son Baer, but we had a daughter, which is probably for the best. God was like, you need that in your life, center. And I was like, oh crap. But it's been great. I'm glad we had a daughter. I love my daughter. If we had a boy, we're going to name him Baer. And that's kind of how all that came to be. So
yeah. Your daughter just
sings with it. Thank you. Yeah, she loves you. She's like, Mr. Scott. You talk to Mr. Scott? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to talk to Mr. Scott.
That's awesome. All right. So a couple questions for you coming out of SF. You obviously have a skill set of what you learned there, and then you went into the training business. Why go into the training business other than you have that skill set? Why not just take your medical retirement, hang out, do CrossFit, and roll all the time?
Well, I love teaching people, right? And I don't think anybody who gets into the training industry does it for much more than the fact that they thought they could do it better, right? Like everyone who does this says, you know what, I can do this and I can do it better. Because the fact is, it's a saturated market. There's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of really good trainers out there. There really is. There's a lot of really shitty ones, but there's a lot of really good ones too. And I mean that like, I don't mean like every trainer. No, there's a lot of bad trainers. I just mean the way you do things, you're going to present information differently. That what it took for you to get successful, the people you've seen and worked with. I see this and I go, hey man, I wish information was presented a certain way. I wish we focused on certain things. I think we can bring a different flavor here that could be very different from what other people are doing. And, I think like there's a lot of influences I have, but at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, I can do this. And I love helping people. I like seeing somebody who's not comfortable with it get comfortable and then see the progress they can make in 2 days. But not only that, you can't take someone from good to great in 2 days, or average to good, or whatever you want to call it. But giving them those skills, identify their deficiencies. And then like a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from one of my students, was like, hey, my mind was all over the place in that class, and then it clicked. He goes, I get it. I get what you were saying. It clicked. He goes, I just everything started picking up for me and going. Like you said, and that was kind of the ultimate, like, oh man, I got to help this person. Because you've been there, Scott. We've been frustrated trying to learn this crap. Like, it's miserable trying to figure it out on your own. It's like, hey, hold on, I can help people do this better.
Yep, exactly. So, okay, so you offer a variation or your nomenclature for a pistol 1, pistol 2, right? And then carbine 1 and 2. What am I missing there? What else? Because I know from our conversations, CQB was kind of your specialty while you were in the teams. Are you teaching CQB? Are you teaching precision rifle? What am I missing there?
So precision rifle, absolutely not. That is not my forte. That's not what I do. I did go to something called SODIC, where I was, the quote unquote sniper on the team. It was our group level SODIC. I did that for Afghanistan. But I'm probably a very good, but yet also horrible in certain ways, like long range guy, because I have no patience. I sit down, shoot 20 rounds in a day. I'm like, oh my God, stab me in the head. Like it's just, It's not my thing. So I don't do it. There's guys out there that are way better, like Mike Baccellieri at Loophole. Great guy. Tons of long range guys out there that are better than me. So I no. But yeah, do CQB. If a police department asks for that, yes, I will come in and do that. I'd prefer to, right now, to do that, I'd keep it small. I've actually recommended guys go to other people for it at the moment. But
okay,
yeah, it's something I'm bringing on a couple people to do, and I have done it a few times. The big thing for me is the Pistol 1, Pistol 2, concealed carry applications course, which originally I did with Ian Strimbecker, Rune Nation, and we kind of did that, put it together. It worked out really well. People liked it, and now we're kind of teaching the same thing on our own, and then we link up twice a year to do it again together.
Okay.
I am doing a new class coming out. I was talking to our combatives instructor. He's a combatives instructor for SOCOM, of doing a home defense course for one person bump in the night. How do you teach somebody to actually, one person, respond to something, clear that stuff, your hallways, clear a doorway, respond to something for home defense, and incorporating a lot more of it with that too. A little bit of the combatives elements, control, some legal issues between having a cop come in, his wife's a lawyer coming in and talking about it. So we're trying to figure that out right now for this next year and get it scheduled.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I think that's a much needed space. Because I've always been, you hear on the internet conversations, it's like, why would you clear your house, bunker in, and wait for them? I'm like, well, what if you got kids?
Yeah.
What if you're not in your bedroom?
Yeah.
Right. What if it's in the middle of the goddamn day?
Yeah.
Right. And you are not there, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think now that with the level of people coming out, it doesn't have to be, hey, FUD, just bunker behind your bed. There's enough of a skill set out there to do it correctly.
Yeah. And those answers too, when people say that, like, why don't you just do this? My immediate thought is shut up, but it's more importantly that you can't just have a one answer for everything. You got to have all these, I hate the tools in the toolbox thing, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
these skill sets that you can apply if needed. Like our bedroom is towards on the other side of the living room. The guest room and my daughter's bedroom is towards the front door, just the way our house is designed.
Right.
So if something happens, I'm not going to bunker in my closet. I got to get to my kid's room where my daughter's at towards the front door. So that's a very, applicable thing, and people should know how to do that. So
100%. Absolutely.
The only other course was the law enforcement restricted courses. I do LE and bill restricted courses that are contracted, and then some are open enrollment.
Okay, so that's important too, man, because cops listen to this show. So
good.
Cops are on this show. So
yeah.
All right. So something I was talking to you about, because you are a very amicable individual, right?
Give me 1 second. I can Google that. And,
you're a good dude. Very likely.
Now we're talking. Appreciate you, bro.
Everybody hear that? That's Knuckles dragging across the desk. Anyway, and what you often see is when highly skilled professionals come out of their individual departments, agencies, military, they just immediately hit social media, and they're a bunch of hard-charging cockfaces. Why is that not you? Because I'll be honest with you, of all the videos I've seen of yours, which the bulk of which, is in collaboration with Gray Hive, which is your gig too, right? You don't go too much into your background at all. Am I wrong about that?
No, not at all. And it's kind of the same in classes. Like, you're not coming to me to have the soft experience. You're coming to me or an instructor for the most part to learn something. So your background is great. It provides context, it provides relevance, and validates what you say. But at the end of the day, none of it matters if you can't take those skills and those thoughts and ideas and those concepts and instill it into the student. So I'm sorry, but there's great guys out there. Yourself, Gabe White. Like, y'all weren't military or anything like that, but you're doing a lot of work with law enforcement professionals and people like that want to learn how to shoot a gun better. Why? Because you're great instructors. So I would rather be known as a good or great instructor, which is what I hope to be, who has this background that teaches people, versus a guy with this background that happens to teach some classes. You know what I mean? And I think that's more important, because you got to get your money's worth. You didn't come to hang out with a what you perceive as a cool guy for the day, because trust me, there's cooler guys out there. It's you came to learn something, so let's do that.
So do you think the whole cool guy thing is is the same as it always was? Is it starting to lose steam? Why isn't that important? I mean, in any other industry, a resume is kind of important. But lately it seems that more people are starting to, like yourself, move away from the resumes, the validation. And I'm not going to say downplay that, but it's just not that important anymore. Are you seeing that trend too, or am I just making that shit up?
No, I think it's all, everybody's different, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying those things don't matter, like, because when it comes to certain things, if you're going to teach within a certain scope, right, or this aspect,
right,
well, you shouldn't be teaching that if you don't have that background, right? And don't reason from stay in your lane, but kind of that concept. There's things that if you're a good shooter, you can teach. So here's what I've done. Here's the scope of everything I can teach. Just like I'm not going to teach high angle shooting from a helicopter or long range stuff. It's not my thing. But here's what I have done, and I will teach everything within that. As long as that just goes, hey, that supports what I'm doing. You guys understand who I am. If you have questions, ask me. But at the end of the day, I think there are guys that are, some guys rely on it more, some guys rely on it less. And, in the military, so we'll take the military, for example, your background matters. So anytime you go somewhere, it's like, well, what have you done? Well, I've done this and that. Well, you're T for trained or you're not, or you're not qualified, or that qualification holds more weight for you than another guy. And it's kind of that resume or that ERB is kind of what separates you. So it's always been about schools and qualifications and this and that. And I think guys sometimes bring that over and they keep relying on that, but it helps. It's good, but at the end of the day, can you teach or not? Because not everybody who can teach.
Right.
Does that answer your question? I guess.
Yeah, no, it does. No, it does. So let's talk about, again, I always say the nickname of this podcast is the Get Better Podcast, but it's just not about how quickly and accurate you can do this, because there are plenty of guys, right? Professional duty guys coming out right now that can teach, but they suck at marketing.
Yes.
That old adage of a shitty product with great marketing can survive. A great product with shitty marketing is going to fail. A shitty product with great marketing can survive, right?
Yes.
And I have always been, don't let this go to your head or your beard, impressed with your marketing prowess, right? Whether it be the stuff that you have on YouTube with under the Hive banner, your Instagram feed, and your drill, the Baer Solution Standard drill. Just that thing blew up, man.
It did. Yeah.
It's a good drill, so there's a reason for that. But there's plenty of good drills, right?
Yeah. There is. There's a lot of good drills.
Yeah. What has set you apart? So for those guys that are thinking about coming out and starting to teach, because as far as I'm concerned, dude, if you got something good to teach and you can teach it, man, the more the better. There is not that many instructors out there that we can't all share the wealth, right. unless you suck and just stop it. But what was the difference with you and suppose another guy coming out of a soft unit where you just kind of, 2 years is not a long time to have the reach that you do. So what was the difference between you and those guys? What advice would you give those guys thinking about getting into it?
Well, one, you got to have a good product, right? I think that's core, but at the same time, coming from the military, or I think just people in general in this firearms industry or this scene that we're in, a lot of guys, it's that quiet professional, that kind of cliche term. It's,
right.
Don't talk about yourself. Just put your nose down, do the work and everything else. And I agree with that to a point, but nobody is going to find you and sign up for your stuff. And you're not going to be able to build your company and, affect people in a positive way if they don't ever see it and you can't get it out there. So for me, it's like coming from our job, it was very kind of frowned upon, like just don't put yourself out there. And I was very lucky on the teams I was on. They were very humble guys that are, some of the best guys I've ever met in my life. Like they were mentors and influences on me. And I really respect those guys. And that's how they were. When you get out though, it's a little different. You've got to put food on the table for your family and you've got to find a way to do it where it's not cheesy, but you have to, it's got to be classy, it's got to be cheesy, but you got to think of other little ways that you can get out there and network, have certain people pushing your stuff also, or easy ways for people to find you, or SEO, search engine optimization, or what kind of content you're going to put out there. But I think people see through things pretty easily when all of the content you're putting out is bashing somebody, or this is dumb, that's wrong, this and that. It's like, hey man, there's a million ways to do it. So knock other people, just put your stuff out there, let them decide, and just keep it up, and try and make it look as professional as possible. But the target, right? That thing, like I developed that, or came up with that, to have a gauge of students. Like, here's the things I want to test, or I see students when they shoot it, I kind of know where they're at. So I know they can do this, this, or that, and diagnose some of their issues, like a diagnostic. It's a great cold start drill. Do that. Cool. There's lots of them out there. But was it 2 months ago, or towards the end of last year, like October, November, somewhere in there, September, that thing had over 3,000 downloads in 1 month. 3,000 individual accounts downloaded that target. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, that's just one little way to get your stuff out there, right? Yep. But providing value, impact, education, entertainment. Those are kind of the three tenets of content that you put out that I heard on some podcast or whatever, and seemed to make sense. So that's that impact, and that's that education. An easy way to put out, people share it, and it's free advertising for you. Now I see a lot of people doing targets like that, and great, man. It's just more stuff for guys to shoot and have fun with. So,
I think that with that drill, and I shoot a lot of drills. I mean, I'm on the hunt for drills to see standards, see where other people are at. But the thing I liked about that drill is, number one, it's easy. You can do it pretty much everywhere, right? Yeah. You need 5 yards, right? You need 5 yards and 13 bullets, right? That's all you need. And some paper, right? You can do an indoor range, outdoor range. You can print them up. It's cheap. It's free, yada, yada. And it does teach not only a lot of basic level skills, or lets you grade basic level skills, but there's some high-end skills in there, man. Like, how long do you really need? I mean, what's the separation between the two rectangles? It's like 3 inches?
3 inches? Yeah, like 4, something like that.
Is it 4 inches, right?
Yeah, about.
It's like,
because there's a 3-inch circle in the middle, so it's like 1.5 inches. So yeah, somewhere around 4 inches.
So how much time do you really need to transition from one rectangle to one rectangle with 4 inches separation?
Exactly.
Right. And I'll see people again, hey, good for putting yourself out there, but they all boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
boom, boom. Yeah. It's like, no, dude, it's just a pop, 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 and go from there. But then they get to see other people do it, right? And going, I didn't see you move the gun, or I didn't, more importantly, I didn't hear you move the gun based on your transitions. The reload, right? And then immediately transferring into a very refined, precise sight package, right? It's a great drill, man. So I would tell you, it's not that easy to come up with one, man. I don't know if St. Michael just blessed you with that idea, or have you been thinking about it for a while?
Okay. I think it was more St. Michael. I just a little bit of luck there, but knew it when to trade on. I was just standing on the range and drew the boxes on a IPSC target, and was like, well, I want to do this, and so we want to test people on it. You talk about it a lot, which I love, is one of the most important things when you say shoot a classifier, you're shooting in general, is that draw. It's all about the draw, right? So the difference in a guy passing the drill and failing the drill usually comes down to the draw and the transitions, right?
Yeah.
So that little thing right there, or the throttle control slowing down on those 3 rounds for the misses wise. But if I know you can draw in this amount of time, shoot, generally these splits have no difference in your transition from shot 5 to 6 on the 2 circles. Just perform a normal reload, slow down, and take 3 shots in about 0.75 each, 3/4 of a second each on those. You're going to pass the drill.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty straightforward. So if any of those things are off, then you fail. So it's like, all right, recoil management, first shot draw, transition, a reload, and I want you to slow down because that's harder than speeding up. You know what I mean? So kind of came up with it, shot it, and I failed it the first time I did it. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
I just failed this drill I just came up with and shot again. I was like, okay, because I didn't take it serious and it was kind of deceptive. So it's good. It's good. I'm glad people have responded well to it. I hope it helps people out. And there's lots of different ways to do it, which is pretty cool. I've seen a lot of guys run different variations, but yeah.
Yeah, and to be specific, because I've been told that if I'm not specific about a drill hill, people kind of get lost in the sauce and forget. So it's what is it? 4x3 rectangles.
Yeah, I think oh man, so it's just an 8.5 inch
like
by
that.
Yeah, something like that. So it's like a 6 inch, 6 inches tall, but like 6x4 rectangle on the left, 6x4 rectangle on the right, 3-inch circle in the middle. So on the buzzer, draw, engage each gray rectangle with 5 rounds each. So 10 rounds, right? Perform a slide lock reload, engage the center circle with 3 rounds. So we know grip breaks down usually for most shooters at between 3 to 5 rounds. So if your grip starts breaking down, then that's going to affect everything downstream of that going to the other box. So we know if you can shoot that 5 and 5 with a good transition and, no deviation really left or right because they're skinnier boxes than they are tall. Okay, cool. So that's your, certain kind of sight picture you need for that. Not a whole lot really. Just put the sights over the target, see through them, break your shots and ride that recoil in there for 10 rounds total between 2 boxes. Perform that reload, slow down, and now we got to focus on that front sight, most likely to take your 3 shots in the center. So we're kind of testing all that, but yeah, let's do that. And then once the gun goes dry again, get your gun back into operation and then perform your scan and you're done.
Okay, awesome. So lots of internet discussion on there. I even think on Pistol Forum, there's a thing on there about how do you get better at the Baer Solutions drill. I've got my ideas. I've answered stuff like that, but so from the originator, how do people specifically get better at that drill? We talked a little bit about the draw. The draw and stuff like that. But yeah, if you had to go a play-by-play, I know you're giving out some free milk, but it's all good, bro. Just give people a little tidbits here and there of how, if you were going to coach them through this drill, how would they get better?
So kind of caveat that I think any drill that you test yourself on is just telling you, hey, what are your abilities at on all these different aspects? Right. So if it's a fast drill or if it's a build drill or whatever, they're testing you on certain parts. So if you're looking to pass the drill, the Baer standards drill, well, in reality, you should isolate each individual skill in there, or ability or fundamental, isolate that, train it, and then put it all together. So kind of looking at it as a whole, what do you got? You got draw, recoil management, transitions, a reload, and then throttle control for welding shots. And that's that change of our focal plane, right? To get that vision. So the real thing is draw within, about 1.3, 1.4 seconds to get that first shot off and be able to break those 5 rounds in about a quarter second apiece. Transition from target to target so it sounds like 10 round string, not 2 5-round strings. They sound like a 10-shot string because you're literally just resetting your trigger as you pull onto the next box. You don't have to transition hard. Don't have to drive the gun. I'm just shooting on that 5th shot. As I reset my trigger, it should be back on that next box. Once you get that, immediately slide lock reload, take that breath, acquire your front sight, and 3 nice and easy well-aimed shots in 3/4 of a second each. If you do that, you're going to pass that drill. But if you're worried about everything like downstream, if you're worried about the reload when you're shooting the boxes, you're going to miss. If you're worried about, not missing the center dot as you're shooting or doing your reload, you're going to fumble the reload or do this. Focus on one thing at a time. Go as you see, shoot it as you see it, work through each process, draw 10 rounds, reload, take that breath, 3 rounds. And at the end of the day, it's literally, that's all it is. So it's kind of testing that to me to see that mental aspect. See what you need to see, man, and just execute each individual step. So if you're having problems with it, identify what you're having problems with, like any drill, and say, all right, I'm going to focus on my draw, I'm going to focus on my transition and my reload. Other than that, you'll be good. Draw, shoot, transition, same thing.
Okay. So let's say they get all that, they pass the par time, which is what?
9 seconds. 9 seconds, 5 meters is like the standard.
Right. So then they go out and they see a video by Milspec Mojo, and he did it in what? What did he do it in? 5.5? 5? 4.99?
4.8.
4.8 from out of an ALS holster and open mag pouch, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. And then say they see me do it from concealment. What did I do? I think I was like a touch over 6.
Was it 2.9?
See, was it dude, I'm going to do a 2.9 on that thing, dude. I got that mapped out, man. No. Now from concealment, the hard part, the reload, you're not going to get a 1 second reload from concealment for the most part. Right. But I think, I don't know, man. I think low 5s, maybe 4s are doable on that if you practice that. You know what I mean?
You got to have all those skills already at a high level, each individual skill, and then you're just focusing on the process of the drill, like the procedure of running it.
Yeah, and I think I did when I filmed mine, I did it cold, and I think I did it from concealment in 6.2, and I was like, I'm good with that, man. I like that drill.
Yeah, 6 is a great time. Like, I don't know how the hell Mojo did that. Don is his name. Yeah. I don't know how. I mean, he is. Why is it the Asians? It's always an Asian. It's like a small Asian guy.
Yeah. So I don't know what that is either, but
just fast.
I personally think it's dude. It's like that small guy who can bench press a lot. They don't got that far to go. It's just, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man. All the Asians hate me anyway because I have the size. Anyway, moving on. All right, so cool. All right, so what about going a little bit faster on the splits and stuff like that? What if somebody misses one of the rectangles in practice?
Yeah, so if you miss, you fail. So it doesn't matter if you shoot at 5 seconds. You got one miss, you fail. But that's kind of the standard. The reason for that is, I think round accountability is key. And a lot of guys want to go as fast as possible. Like, oh, it's good, but I had one miss. It's like, okay, well, you shouldn't have any misses. If we're training for this, and despite what your goal is, whether it's competition or this or that, the fact is this is a gun, man. And the end state is I have to be able to put shots on target fast and accurate, right? To do that, and to do that in real life, you need to be accountable. So is this real life? No, we're shooting a paper target. But how do we add in a little bit of accountability for people? So where they go, well, I can go fast and meet my ego time, that, oh, I could do it in my pride. I could do it faster, but I might miss. So you're driving that little bit of that decision or that mentality. Now they got to think, well, how fast can I go without missing? Because as soon as you miss, it's a fail.
It's a fail. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a standard. All that.
Yeah, so it's a standard, it's a test, right? So I was calling it a drill, but depending on how you look at it, it's actually a test, right?
I like to think so, yeah.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone knows I like to go fast, but there's nothing wrong with that, in saying that type of stuff. But then let's, here's the next word. Let's juxtapose that.
Oh, Google.
Let's put that next to the fact that you also compete, right? Yeah. You compete in USPSA. I think you do 3-gun as well, or used to do 3-gun.
Yeah, I used to do 3-gun, but now I use shotgun.
Right, exactly. So mostly now, it's USPSA. How do you then balance that round accountability when you're practicing for USPSA?
So, and I think we've had this conversation before when
that's what I'm bringing. Yep.
Yeah, so I love competition. I am not a good competition shooter. I think I'm like a B class in production or something for those things. Mainly because I show up and I look at it and I'm like, oh, cool. Well, let's just see. Let's try stuff out. We'll see what my limit is. Push it, come back. Well, I need to change. I'm going to actually try and take it a little more serious, and I suck at like the stage design stuff and figuring that out. But I think you gotta push yourself. If you don't know where your limit is, you don't blow past your limit, you can't know where your limit's at. So with comp, and maybe I got off on the original question here just a little bit, but
that's okay.
If you don't know where your limit is, if you don't blow past your limit, you don't know where your limit is, right? But you're never going to get better if you don't push that a little bit. It's the same as working out. Like if we go to the gym and you're like, every time you go in, you're only doing 50%, right? Or 60%, you're never really going to get stronger. But then you go to 70, 80s, 90s, 100 on your squats, your cleans or whatever, and you find that limit, well, you know where it's at. You're constantly pushing that line a little bit farther to the right. You know what I mean? So competition, I'm not gonna lie at this point, I can't remember your original question, but I'm just gonna keep talking.
No, how do you practice? I mean, because we just talked, so it was, we were talking about the Baer standards. test in a test where you miss, you fail, right? But then we're talking about something like competition and how you go back and forth. So you were right on track.
Yeah.
You're so good you don't even know it, bro. You're right on track.
So money. Just so with competition, you go out there, you push your limits, you run and you gun, and you just blaze the targets and you burn it down, right? Is there value in that? Well, yeah, because what are you focusing on in that? Well, you're focused on target transitions, right? Is that the way combat's going to go, or a tactical situation? Well, no, there's other factors to think about, like target identification, information processing, all these things that don't really happen in a competition setting because, well, the targets are just brown cardboard, right? They're just cardboard targets. And some of them are flipped around to where they're white and they're like, hey, don't shoot the white people, right? Or whatever. Don't shoot the non-threat. That's super not politically correct, but I hope people can laugh at that. There's probably
I got you, bro. The podcast is minority owned and operated, so I got you, bro.
Fair enough. I appreciate you. So, yeah. So, I mean, there's still stuff in there, right? You got to draw fast. You got to get to the position. You got to engage it. You got to get around the spot in a tight corner to put your gun on target and shoot it. Then you got to, as soon as you're done shooting, whatever that set round count is, 2 rounds. Some competitions do different stuff, but for the most part, 99% of the time it's 2 rounds. Put that on there, immediately drive the gun, work on that transition, get it to the next, and keep going. How is that not going to help you in certain very individual skills that you're practicing or doing? That aspect, how does that translate to combat? Well, it does, but there's just a lot more thing. Not combat, just that tactical focus, or however people think that, or self-defense. Those all translate to it, but now in self-defense aspect, or self-offense, or military, or law enforcement, or whatever, now you've got other things to think about because you can't simulate combat on a flat range. You just can't do it. This isn't Russia. We're not wearing plates shooting at each other, right? So as this goes on, like, what's the best way to test your skills or do something with what you know in your gun? Well, go to a competition. Well, that's not stressful because people aren't shooting at you. Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, actually is stressful because I've seen guys that are soft dudes, and me and Seth Hazelhoon, the guy in the gray hat is with me. He's a SOCOM mental performance coach. He's got a doctorate. He's super smart, blah, blah, blah. He was saying, when I first got here, I didn't understand. I see SF guys or soft guys in general. We take them out, they get when they're overseas doing stuff, they're completely calm. We put them in certain situations, they're completely calm. I put them on a flat range and say, hey, shoot this course of fire, stand by, beep. And just, they're like, what's going on? Well, there's different types of stress there, right? So you can't simulate stress in a real situation on a flat range. What we can do is apply cognitive stress, social stress, emotional stress, physical stress, right? Physical is probably the easiest to get over. That's elevated heart rate. All right, then fucking control your breathing. But the social stress of other people watching you, that turns into that emotional stress, that's self-induced. And now all these things are happening, and that buzzer goes off. And I think it was Pat McNamara does it. He's got that video. He's like, all this means is, please, you may go. That's all the beep means, not lose our minds. But that little buzzer is just a simple way, for the most part, with people watching you, and say, weigh speed and accuracy and do your best to beat other people because competition breeds excellence. Shoot this the best you can. And you start, it's emotional, it's a self-induced stress that you put on yourself. So it's good. Like that training, it's just other kinds of training, just other aspect. That's all it is. If you can't differentiate, like Panone said, if you can't differentiate between real life and a competition, because this is fun, but it tests certain things and puts you in these situations, you can't differentiate the two. I don't want to quote him, but I think he said something along the lines of, you probably shouldn't be doing this. You know what I mean? Like, let's put that argument to bed.
Yeah, he has said various things. I think, the culmination of which is that you probably deserve to die anyway. Right. And the other thing he says is like, look, man, I guarantee you in the history of competition, no one has ever been, a paper target has never shot back.
Yeah.
Right. So your concerns from shooting from behind cover are probably unsubstantiated.
Yeah.
That being said, especially when like civilians do it, again, I'm probably going to make the internet hate me though. But there's so much information out there.
There is.
I mean, all you got to do is spend an afternoon watching active self-protection stuff. And whether you think these people are trained or untrained in these videos, right? Yeah. I get it. Cover is important, but I still have yet to see a gunfight on that video where dude started out blazing in the open and then transitioned to cover.
Yeah.
If they started from behind cover, they stayed behind cover. But anyway, that's something else. Empirical evidence can always get you in trouble, especially when people don't pay attention to it. Awesome. So hold on, everybody. Mark 40 minutes in, and we're going to use the word CrossFit again. Drink. So why CrossFit? I know you had to do a lot of PT and lifting and stuff like that in the team setting and everything like that. But why CrossFit? Why not Orange Theory or something else awesome like HIIT or Insanity or I don't know.
Or what's it called? Pilates? So that's another one too, right?
I think the hip people call it Pilates.
Well, no, this is America, so let's say it like it should.
Pilates.
Pilates. Yeah. Well, all right. Pilates, that thing. Yeah, we. Well, my wife's a CrossFit trainer, so yeah, that's the same reason we eat. We're kind of hippies, man. Like you came over, you saw. It's like, hey, would you like some gluten-free tortillas? How about some vegetable?
I'm all about that, bro.
How about some vegetable chips? Like mainly because I'm married. But other than that, I mean, so physical fitness is really important. At my unit, we were very fortunate. We had several, I think 5 different strength and conditioning coaches, and it was called the Thor program. It's like tactical, human, optimism, and then like Thor 3, there's like 3 R's, whatever. But these guys one of them was the head of the Olympic Committee, winter sports, head trainer. One guy was at Appalachian State University. We had a guy from Ole Miss University. One was a national Olympic weightlifter, and then a sponsored triathlete after that. And he coached at collegiate level. One guy got, guys ready to go to the NFL at like those combine, gyms where they get you ready for that. So we had some incredible. One of our coaches had 6 gold medalists a few years ago. He's not even at the Olympic Committee anymore, but he still has. So we had a lot of great coaches. Now I'm out. I still kind of go hang out there, but originally I got kind of introduced into that from the let's jack steel, bro, and do buys and tries all day kind of bodybuilder stuff, because it didn't translate into me picking up my 275-pound teammate who has a six-pack, Frank, and he is in full kit and now weighs 350. Like picking him up off the ground and carrying him, which I had to do. In training. I didn't do that in real life, but we did it just to make a point, a stress shoot. Well, that doesn't translate to it as well. So we've got to have that cardio aspect. We've got to have all these things. And me personally, I think CrossFit is an easy way, depending on the gym. Every gym's different, program is different, this and that. And CrossFit has kind of become like an umbrella term or just a generic term for this kind of working out. But you look at this and you're like, well, you got to be ready for anything, right? So it's the closest thing that's an out-of-the-box solution to just go out and work out, and you can say, hey, I'm not focusing on one thing. I'm kind of working on a little bit of everything, and I'm going to get I'm going to get in better cardio shape. I will get stronger. They're introducing you to Olympic lifting, which is, kind of the ultimate test, like the snatch and clean and jerk, like the ultimate test of picking somebody up off the ground and being able to carry them out. Like you can't do a snatch or a clean and jerk. You can't really do that because the movements are very similar, unnatural, but similar. So I kind of fell into that. I did a couple CrossFit competitions before I started working out with our Thor coaches more, and just always liked it. I just like lifting weights, and hey, who doesn't want to look good naked and stuff, right? But at the end of the day, like you gotta, it's about readiness, right? If you can't shoot, if you can shoot, that's great. But if you can't get away from the threat or get to the threat or fight where the threat's at, then you're kind of missing out on over about half of your whole preparation and all your preparedness and all these things you're trying to do. The same reason you and I do jujitsu or combatives. I call it combatives, but like Muay Thai, working on little nice stuff. You don't got to be the best. You just got to be better than the other guy. You got to do just enough, your ability, where you're at, and just get out there and do something. Because so that's like 25%.
Yep. So that's a great segue into combatives, right? So mainly what you do is jujitsu now, right? Yeah. Why jiu-jitsu? Why not some of the other, like you also mentioned Muay Thai, which is, my favorite striking. Yep. Don't tell my Korean relatives, my favorite striking arts and stuff. But why do you, as someone with as much violent knowledge as you have, still want to start over right? As a white belt, you finally got rank. Congratulations, by the way, again.
Thanks, man.
Why do you want to put yourself through all that bullshit? Why is jiu-jitsu so important that you put yourself through that? Last time I saw you, you got punched in the eye.
Yeah.
By accident.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. He was probably a higher belt that was like, God dang it, quit doing the same thing. And I'm like, I don't know anymore, man.
Spazzy fucker. Elbow.
Yeah. So probably, yeah. Yeah, like, so if you're gonna get so let's take concealed carry, right? Probably the most for the people out there that train. That's when they're the most prepared. So they have that gun on them, right? What's most likely going to happen? It's not the 21-foot rule where a guy's standing there with a knife. It's like, I'm going to stab you and rape your wife. And then, blah, blah, blah. You kill your kid, and then he goes, charges at you and you got your hands up and you're standing there and all this stuff happens. Things don't work that way. Like, so when threats happen, they're usually within contact distance range. Usually people go hands on. You can't get to the gun if that gun is a liability at the moment. Like, you've got to be able to control somebody else before you can even pull that gun out. Yep. So a lot of people I've been quite a few fights. So, not going to say I won all of them because I did not. I got a fake tooth and a broken nose and a broken cheekbones, right? Because, I had a smart mouth in college, right? But anyway, a real smart mouth, and alcohol didn't help after my third freshman year. But whatever. So with all that, like, if you're going to get in a fight, you're more likely to get in a hands-on situation. And if you got a gun on you and you don't know how to control somebody, just simple thing like control them. Just control the hips, control the shoulders, so that you can just take that person down or just get to a point where you can get offline, create separation, and then maybe go for the gun if the situation dictates. You're more likely to get into that. So if you can't fight, like, shooting's just part of it. And that's probably 1% in real life. If you can't fight, you're way out of a wet paper bag. Well, you're screwed, man. Like, there's lots of little things you can do, and nothing's going to teach you better than jiu-jitsu, that body control, that body awareness, especially. And I think the most beneficial thing is that you take the average person and you get them on the mats. You say, it doesn't have to be in a gi or any of this, just go roll. Well, that stress inoculation, which I heard, it was on the Grappling Central podcast, which I love. It was the jiu-jitsu cop guy from Atlanta. He was talking about it. He was like, that stress inoculation of having somebody on top of you whose chest is, the shoulders driving into your chin, they're cutting off your breathing, you're fighting to breathe, and you've got to control that and say, it's okay, slow my heart rate down, have that body awareness, work my legs, get my space, and fight back to a more advantageous position. That right there may be one of the most beneficial things you can do, because that's not just going to translate to that moment. It's going to translate to the time when you do have to pull out your gun. It's going to translate to the time that, I don't know, you're frustrated about something, on the highway, or somebody comes up and approaches you that doesn't seem right. That being used to that stress and being able to mentally slow down and go, hold on, let me evaluate this situation. And I feel comfortable here because I have a few little skills, but I'm used to this. That may be one of the most important things. And there's really no better place to do it. You can't go shooting explosion type CQB training all the time, but you can do, you can join a gym. And you can go get in shape and just roll around a little bit. And that's going to serve you hands down better than probably anything else. It's just one part of the pie. That's my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I dig it, man. And it brings up a lot of good points about stuff. I don't laugh because it's absolutely true about when people talk about, competing and the stress with competition. It absolutely is. But that's social stress, right?
It is.
I think where jiu-jitsu takes it to a higher standard is not only do you have social stress because when you're rolling around on the mat, right, you've got the resting we'll call them schoolmates or whatever, you've got the professor, you got the guy you're rolling with, and instead of a shot timer going beat, you got the slap and dap, right, and that's your shot timer, and that's when you go. So it's the want to perform well coupled with the desire not to get absolutely fucking crushed, right? Because I don't care what level of athlete you are, world class or not. Ask me how I know Washington Redskins. That if you can't breathe, doesn't matter what shape you're in.
Yeah.
Right? If I've got your left shoulder pinned and your right shoulder pinned, and I'm crushing your chest while giving you my shoulder on your chin, and you can't figure out why you can't move and can't breathe, I don't care if you can run a 3-second 40.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And once you experience that type of pressure, it's a natural progression in that stress inoculation like you were talking about. So
question for you. A lot of times people, or take that back, you go to the jiu-jitsu gym or when you first started, a lot of times we build that totem pole, right? We do the eyeball test. We say, oh, this guy's tough, this guy's that, whatever, right? Being in jiu-jitsu and being who you are, you're a big dude. Like you're, I think, exactly 2 times the size of me, right? So, but not perfectly scientific, but whatever. So when you go to that gym, has your training better prepared you outside the gym to not judge somebody just on the way they look and assume that, oh, because that guy's got cool kit, he's a better shooter, or that guy's big and tough, they could beat me up. Maybe because you go in there and you might have surprised yourself by seeing certain kinds of people, and then you roll with them and you're like, oh shit.
Absolutely, 100%.
Builds in the
So the cliche, don't judge a book by its cover, right? Yes. Well, that doesn't mean don't prejudge. That just means physical, especially in jiu-jitsu, and getting to shooting ability as well. Physical appearance has little to do with anything.
Yes.
Right? That doesn't mean you're not or you shouldn't prejudge, right? There are other cues that you need to look at, right? For example, I can pretty much tell if a dude's going to be a good / tough roll, which, when you do jiu-jitsu enough, you don't want easy rolls, right? Because you wind up fooling yourself and you don't learn anything. But if a dude's going to be a good / tough roll, I'm going to say this, and of course it might be hyperbole, but I can pretty much tell by the minute they walk onto the mat and how they set up for the roll, right? If it's from knees, how they get onto their knees, right? When they do, the slap and dap deal, I can kind of tell from right then and there if this dude at least knows what he's doing, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Right?
It's the way he handles himself, or herself.
But it's not just handle, dude, because you can have different dudes that handle themselves, right? You can have a collegiate wrestler, right, in their realm of wrestling, be able to handle themselves. And then they step on a jiu-jitsu match and they may seem athletic, they can move and everything like that. But because they don't understand the parameters of jiu-jitsu, right? Because his back is on the ground, I'm done. No, bro, you're not done. And by the way, I have your arm from the back. You know what I mean? I can kind of, it's interesting. I can kind of just tell by the way they set up that they have the body awareness, at least the jiu-jitsu body awareness, right? That they know what they're doing. And I think the same thing is with shooting. I said this in one of the other podcasts. It's like, you never get that guy who maybe doesn't have the resume, and as replacement for not having MIL or LE service, they put on a competitive shooter, right? And that's their shtick. I'll tell you right now, from the minute I see you draw, I know whether or not you're a competitive shooter.
Yeah.
Right. You can lie all day long that you did this and you did that, but if your draw is shit and you've got that tactical hitch and blah blah blah, I don't even need to look you up, dude. I know you're full of shit. Right. But take that same guy, maybe he doesn't say he's a competitive shooter, put that same guy and put him in a CQB environment, right? And the whole thing restarts. Yeah. The whole thing restarts. Does that answer your question?
It does. I think something cool about that is too. So you said don't judge a book by its cover. Mm-hmm. You don't, just because someone's big and tough looking doesn't mean they can fight, right?
Yeah.
So on the same side, just because someone's small and skinny doesn't mean they can't kick your ass, right?
Oh, dude, and 100%. The worst rolls ever from fucking small skinny guys.
Oh, I know. And I go in the gym, and we've got a broad range of guys. We've got guys that wrestle that are in there that wrestled at West Point, right? Are a very high level commander at my unit goes in there and is very good. Nice guy, you know, whatever. You kind of look at him, he's like, he's pretty built. He's in there tearing dudes up. You're like, how the shit, man, this old guy, you know? Well, he wrestled somewhere in college. We got wrestlers. We got a couple jiu-jitsu black belts, brown belts, purple belts, you know, because I'm kind of a low man on the totem pole getting in there and doing this. But I've gone in there and been like, hey, oh, yeah, this is easy. I'm going to take it to this dude, right? Some days I have. Same dude, another day. Like this guy the other day, I weighed this guy by 50 pounds. And he's probably 3 or 4 inches taller than me. Super skinny. I mean, like, and I could not get past his guard, couldn't do this. I was like, what the hell, man? It's that constant reminder that just because they're smaller than you or don't look tough or they're a woman or whatever, doesn't mean they can't kick your ass or be successful against you in some way, shape, or form in that jiu-jitsu realm.
That's the guy I want to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
because he's had to do it the hard way.
Exactly.
You know?
100%.
And so kind of to take it back to shooting, right? I'll tell you, so I've told you the story about the 13-year-old Amish girl.
No, or I may have forgotten because it doesn't take me to a good place.
Okay. So I was doing a shooting match, right? So let's tie this back into shooting because that's kind of what we're about. I was at a shooting match with a couple of my buddies, SF guys, 2 of them there. And girl shows up, her like dad or we assume or somebody's there with her, and she's got like a brother that's watching, but she comes up to shoot. She's about 13 years old, no shit. And she's got a full length denim skirt on, a pair of like tennis shoes, you know, like a polo, you know, like a little like athletic like Under Armour Nike polo, like golf looking polo, and no shit, like a head covering like bonnet looking thing.
Yeah.
And everybody's super nice, like, oh, you know, hey, do you have any questions? You know, everybody's being very polite, being respectful, like doing their best to like foster this, you know, environment of learning and help this person, you know, and me and my buddies are like, oh, yes, you know, young lady, what's your name? Talk to her. Yeah. Do you have any questions? You know, we're these barrel chested, you know, green berets. We think we're just death slaying studs, right? And, we're like, yeah, we do this stuff. We're awesome shooters. And this is when I first started kind of doing this. You know, I'm maybe like 10 matches in. This is several years ago. And she's like, oh, no, sir. No, thank you very much. If I do, yes, I'll ask questions. She's listening to everybody. And she steps up to shoot. And we're like, oh, well, that's a real nice pistol. She's got like an STI 2011 there. Oh, look at that. I'm like, damn, you know, and she get that thing from whatever. And they're like, all right, okay, so do you understand the course of fire? Yes, sir. You know, she looks up at him. I'm like, okay, young lady, go ahead and load and make ready. And she pulled that gun out crisp, gets her sight picture, locks that slide rear, inserts the thing, you know, checks it, good. Back, reverses the drill perfectly, holsters up, puts her hands outside, and breathes. And we're like, what the shit was that? And that buzzer went off, shooter ready. That buzzer went off. And from the time she shot that first target, everybody's jaw dropped. And we were like, what the hell is happening? It was bang, 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 ting, 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 bang, bang, bang. And the little feet scurry over and she runs, gets around the side, shoots this next one doing this. I know people can't see, but I'm like fake pieing off little stuff here or whatever.
Yeah.
And goes out there shooting. And we were like, I looked at my buddy and I'm like, dude, what the hell just happened? He's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And they were like, unload and show clear. She drops the mag safe, drops the mag, locks the slide to the rear, catches it in the air, click, holsters up. She's like, thank you very much. And she walks away. And you talk about 3 dudes who thought we were awesome.
Yeah.
Egos just like just deflated. I mean, our jaws are on the ground and we looked at each other and was like, we suck. So at class, I'm like, hey, I tell that story. I'm like, hey, no matter how good you are, there's a 13-year-old Amish girl somewhere that will beat you at shooting. You cannot judge. Like at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with who you are. It's how are your abilities right now in this moment. That's all. No one cares if you're black or white or every color in between or tall or short.
How much multicam you have on?
Yeah. You got 3 drop legs. Who wears 3 drop legs? You know, like Jesus, that's the biggest dump pouch I've ever seen. It's like Santa's bag and a cape combined. Like what the fuck? You know, like that stuff. Nobody cares, man. It doesn't matter. If you can shoot, you can shoot. Now, again, like decision making and process information, you know, that aspect of it is different. But we're talking about shooting on a flat range. You can be anybody. So don't ever judge that book by its cover. Yeah. And no matter how good you think you are, you're not. Like Olympic weightlifting. There's a 14-year-old Chinese girl somewhere that warms up with your max. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
130 pounds. in jujitsu. Like, was that 16-year-old kid that's like tearing everybody up?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know, Ryan. I don't know his name, but yeah.
Nicky Ryan.
Nicky Ryan. Yeah.
Nicky Ryan.
That kid will mess you up on the streets. He hasn't even hit puberty yet. Like,
yep, and his older brother Gordon Ryan's in the back talking shit.
Yeah. No, I didn't even realize they were related. Like,
Gordon. Yeah, Gordon. King Gordon is his older brother, dude.
Okay.
Who talks
like man.
Yep.
They are
exactly. And then John Danaher's in the dark alley, like chuckling at everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude. But like the thing I was talking about, like the way the person like gets to their knees or the draw and stuff, was when you watched her make ready process.
Exactly.
You knew
that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because it was deliberate.
Yeah.
It was methodical, no wasted effort. Everything was going where it needed to go, and it was getting set up for success. And you're like, huh, all right, that takes a while. You know, you got to know what you're doing with those little things.
And if I'm truly being honest, the first thing I'm looking for on the mat, if I don't know the dude, I look at his ears.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look at his ears, dude, because perfect ears. Although I have been fooled by that before.
Yeah.
But generally, if you got someone with the cauliflower, they've at least had some time on the mat, or they really suck at defending triangles.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, dude. Awesome. All right, dude. So we're into it at about an hour, right? So now we get to our finish segment, which is get it off your chest. Right?
Oh man.
Yeah, what out there is it either in the industry that you're seeing, instructing, your experience, whatever, that if people stopped doing this, they would get better, or if they started doing this, they would get better. Something along those lines, man. Have at it.
Oh man. How much time do we have, Scott?
Dude, you know what the beauty of having your own podcast is?
It's your podcast.
It's my podcast.
Yeah. Man. There's a couple that come to mind.
Knock it out, dude. Get
all
it
right,
off
so
your chest.
People can think whatever they want about me. Like I try and do things my way. But when I see guys that come out and the first thing is they're going out and they're just attacking people, right? It's one thing to bring up a valid point and ask a question and let those people make themselves look like a fool and then justify your answer and, defend that, passionately. It's another thing to single people out and be like, this guy's stupid and that guy and this and that and blah, 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 and maybe we're all doing a little bit, you know what I mean? But to purposely try and make yourself look better or your way look better by attacking somebody and just being like, oh, everything's stupid. It's not the way I did it in 1992 in the Marine Corps or, so all this stuff's dumb or whatever, man. That like going out and just seeing something, not even trying to look into it and see if there's any validity to what they're saying and just absolutely just going after it, to hammer it on it, to try and make that person's devalidate them or whatever to make yourself look better. That's childish, man. Like grow the fuck up. Like whatever, dude. Like now, if you're bringing up valid points, so take Mike Pannone, right? He did an article or I saw something on Soldier Systems a long time ago where he talked about temple index. And he was like, hey, do whatever you guys think. Here's why I don't teach that or do that. And then he laid out methodically and justified his reasons why. That's right. Like, instead of just saying it's stupid, he's not saying that. He's saying, here's why I don't do that. And here's the reasons. And here's those valid points and justifications and data and everything else, to where he makes a clear point and an argument and then says, hey, it's up to you, man. Now that's professional. That's a way to professionally disagree. The dick measuring and all this other stuff, like, dude, just fucking get over yourself, man. If you're having to go out and attack people for that, you might not be able to justify your own means, and in some weird way you feel a little whatever. There's things out there I see that I think are just absolutely dumb that I would never do. But I have a reason for that. So someone asked me, one, I'll be professional enough to say, hey, it's not my thing. My personal feelings may be a little different, but it's not my thing. Here's why I do this. That's what I try to do.
Yeah.
It's the coming out and just attacking. Now, for the people that the easiest thing is most of those people, like, you just ask them a question. Like, you ask them a question and they'll just make themselves look bad anyway. So you probably don't need to attack them if you feel that. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
actually take a look at it, see what points up in it are valid, or what the reasoning is behind it and try and understand it and then come to that conclusion versus seeing something on the surface and being like, that's dumb. Everything about that's dumb. No, nothing. It's like, all right, well, you want to tell us why? Or you want to explain that better or justify, this or that, or show us something? That's eating me up because it's just not professional. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's one of the things, like, much like yourself, I haven't been doing the instructing thing for that long out here in the free market or whatnot. And people ask, how I've been able to gain traction, right? And I was like, well, guys, I mean, I'm not teaching pistols for a while, but I've been in business for 25 years in a sales position. I understand marketing. And, I kind of asked you about what advice would you give people to getting into it. It's like, take a business class, understand marketing. Rule number one with marketing: don't disparage your competition.
Yes, because it makes you look bad.
It makes you look bad. That's an A, by the way. B, right? Just because they're wrong doesn't mean you're right.
Yes.
And number 3, the next obvious question that someone's going to have if they listen to you is they're going to ask you for the correct methodology. And if you haven't thought that through, guess what? Now you're in the idiot pile, just along with the guy that you just put there. Unfortunately, in this industry, everything is associated with blood, right? So if not more than one thing can be right for whatever reason, right? But just on the business aspect of it, like Mike did, it's not that this guy is absolutely wrong. He's going to get you killed in the streets, right? This is what I do and why I don't like that. Take it for what you will, right? And actually, to be honest with you, anybody who wants to know the right to do things, they just need to follow Mike Bonone, man, because the dude is a class act from top to bottom. Top to bottom. So, all right, so that was 1. What's number 2?
Misrepresenting yourself.
Ooh.
So we all kind of, whatever, you know what I'm saying? There's always gonna be somebody out there who's gonna say something that they don't agree with you, right? Or they're going to say, you're not who you say. There's always somebody, because they got that 20, 60, 20 rule, right? Mm-hmm. So 20% of people, no matter what, are always going to love you. All right. And they contribute to that celebrity complex, the Tom Cruise complex. Like, you could walk in their house, kick their dog in the face, and like, oh, he's having a bad day. Like, they can't be mad at you. They're always going to love you. 20% of people are always going to hate you. Save their kid from a burning house, save their kid's life. You'll come out of that thing, almost dead, and be like, here's your kid, I saved their life. They're going to be like, F you. Like, no, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, or you're still a piece of crap. They won't even say thank you. Yeah. But 60% are kind of on the fence. 60% is what you can affect. So at most, you can only ever have 80% of people, be on your side or sway that or influence that to have like that, I don't know, positive presidential rating or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I think, so there's always going to be someone that says something. At the same time, I think some guys, let me take that back. Some guys get caught up in I need to be this to be successful, or I need to be able to say this, or this has to be who I was before this or that to put out information. And if you don't have these qualifications, this resume, then you can't do this job or whatever, right? Well, simply not true. You can learn something from everybody. There's no need to misrepresent yourself. Hell, we went on the range, and in a few magazines, you took my build drill time from like a 2.3 to a 2 flat from concealment. And I was like, I know I was having these issues, but I needed somebody to teach me this. You're not a military guy. You're not an SF guy. Like, does that mean anything? Absolutely not. You taught me how to get better right there. And there's things that, I hopefully taught you after that, but like, you can learn something from everybody. So the guys that are misrepresenting themselves, the people who are misrepresenting themselves, don't want to be a sexist prick here, because, you might identify as whatever, or, there's women too, like, I get it. I apologize. But you don't need to. You just be you, man. Because in the end, that's going to be the most credibility possible. That transparency of who you are. Don't feel the need to be somebody else, and just teach what you know and keep learning and keep getting better. That's what makes some of these the best instructors, because otherwise you're just going to be a flash in the pan. We see it all over the industry. You see guys come up, this and that, and then all of a sudden they're not filling classes anymore because word got around, or now people find this out about this guy. Like, oh, well, all that marketing didn't mean shit, because you over marketed yourself to something that wasn't true. So just be you, man. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a civilian. I don't care if you're a fucking cop. I don't care if you're, military guy, soft dude, whatever. As long as you're teaching, the stuff based on what you are qualified to teach, generally, right in there, and that's all kind of subjective, then you're good to go, man. Just focus on being great at that. And we see it with cops too. Some of these guys like, oh, this SWATer is a contractor too, and this and that, and blah blah blah. And then you find out, well, actually, they were like a reserve cop for like 2 years, or they weren't really a cop. They just got like deputized. And then, I was on this like reserve SWAT team, and we did 3 like, call outs on a meth lab. They're not even meth lab. It was just some guy we thought had meth, in an entire year. And then I was like an instructor for podunk, nothing or another. But you made it sound like you were God's gift to SWAT Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, you were like literally SWAT Jesus. Are you kidding me, man? Like, just be you, dude. There's no reason for that, because no one cares. Your abilities and your coaching abilities and your teaching abilities should speak for themselves. So don't need to be any different.
And that's a great message. And I will tell that to all of the civilian instructors out there that are trying to find work and fill classes and everything. And the funniest thing, man, is that good content is good content. Good teaching is good teaching, right? Not saying that mine's perfect, but it works. The FBI Tactical Training Unit, they found me on YouTube.
Yeah.
I started like when the guy first called me, I was like, hey, just curious, for my own business purposes, how'd you find me? I mean, and I started like naming off all these people I know in the FBI. And the dude goes, no, bro, YouTube. I was like, no shit.
Huh. Well, I'll be damned.
I'll be damned. How about that?
Yeah. But I mean, it's just transparent. Like, you can see that shit.
Yeah.
And the people who really care, like, and really know and are really gonna cause you to be successful and have those opportunities to train with really awesome people and give you those opportunities, they see through that shit for the most part. They can see that and go, everybody kind of knows. They're like, that sounds like a lot of peacocking. Then they look at somebody else and go, oh, that guy's going to teach me something. Because my hardest thing, like with cops, right, and especially right off the bat, it goes away pretty quick within like the first hour or two, is that they're waiting for a guy to teach them how to do their job. And that, here's what I've done, here's everything, this and that. And it's like, hey, man, what are you here for? Let's work on that. I don't need to teach you how to do your job. I'm not a cop, right? So let's put all that dick measure, because everybody's just standing there like ready to measure some peckers. Like, mine's bigger. Don't teach me shit. But just throw all that away. We see through it. So the guys that are, it just fucking be you, man. Like, So that's why I think you've gotten so many of those opportunities, because you shoot great and people are like, oh, cool, we can learn that. I want to learn that.
Well, it's funny. So I got this one PD gig, right? And the guy goes, yeah, I was talking to the brass and stuff like that. And the guy goes, well, he's not a cop. What's he going to teach us? He's like, he's going to teach us how to find the dot on the draw. And he's like, he's not going to be talking about mindset or tactics or anything like that. So why does he need to be a cop? Good point. Move on.
Yeah. The mindset stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, we talked about that, dude.
Yeah,
actually, the audience out there is sick of me. He's like, what's mindset again? How do I practice that? Is there a drill for that?
Oh, dude. Just imagine that the target is super mean and aggressive looking. That's a threat. And start yelling at each other and just be like, gun. Like, oh, God.
Like, you want to test your mindset? Do what we were talking about before. Get under a 180-pound black belt in jiu-jitsu and have him cross-face you and crush you at the same time. See how you react. That'll test your mindset.
Yeah. Like, there is a way to have a mindset in certain applications or certain situations. Like, I know I need to be able to switch to this mindset, but like, I think sometimes it's a little bit, a little bit much. But I think there's an appropriate way to talk about and work on your mindset and things and visualization. There's other ways that's like, all right, I think we're just paying some lip service here, and it's just yelling at each other on a range. But anyway.
Exactly. Followed by fundamentals and follow through. Can you just define that for me too? No? All right.
Nope.
On to the drill. Awesome. All right, man. Well, that's pretty much it, brother. Do me a favor. Tell people where they can find you, where your next couple of classes, who do you want to plug? Victos. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, first of all, yeah. So BaerSolutionsLLC.com. It's BAER. That's the right way to spell Baer. That's not true, but I had to do it different, right? So Baer Solutions, BAER Solutions LLC.com. That was my
Well,
website.
it is if you're talking about your bare hands.
Bare hands, yeah.
Wait a minute. No,
yeah, that's my discount code for everything. People are like, oh, you want a discount code to give people? I'm like, yeah, sure. They're like, how about season's greetings 10%? I'm like, hell no, with my bare hands. With everyone. So if you wanted a discount code, you're like, oh, I heard you had it's with my bare hands. All right. My buddy came up with that because it's funny. But so yeah, so their Instagram is just Baer Solutions, at Baer Solutions. Facebook, same stuff. There's some other, So that stuff. Victos, obviously, we are both Victos athletes. I love our Victos family and company. I got some great guys on board, man, with Jared Reston, yourself, Dan Barocos, Led Fawcett. Really cool stuff. Darren Cruikshank, the MMA fighter, like he's cool as shit. He's funny. He's like a funny kid.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he does a lot of 3-gun stuff too, and it's like,
no shit.
He's really awesome. Like over the top. Like I bought, a Sega 12 gauge with like a drum magazine with 50 rounds in it. They're like, that's pretty funny, dude. I like that. Get it, man. They got some surfer guy. So yeah, Victos, great company. Check them out. Good people. I work a little bit with Loophole over there too. So, I like Loophole Optics and other guys over there. They're good people. On top of that, I've been pretty fortunate, man. I truly think I've been very blessed with some of the people I've met in this industry, obviously like yourself, because I get to come on your podcast. Garrett Schwindel from Cogworks, Ian Strimbeck, Rune Nation. There's so many cool dudes out there, man. There really is. And we got like a kind of a group of guys, Chad Beckham, Brian Valise of Slide Tack Training. He's a great dude, and not many people know about.
Yeah, man, I've been chatting with him recently on the DMs, man. Good dude.
He is, and he's helped me instruct some courses. And he and I are very different instructors because I'm kind of go and put out info and he is very articulate. Ian is the same way, very articulate in the way they put out information. They're good guys, man. Fuck, dude. You'll see. I post a lot of stuff out there for people to follow. Jared Reston's cool as shit.
Yep.
Like, everybody knows him.
Yep. So, Flowers, everybody out there. So
yeah, dude. That's pretty much it. But, yeah, go check out I put most of that stuff on Instagram. So you'll see me promoting other people. They can check it out. But
outstanding. Thanks for being on the show, guys. Those of you that are supporting the podcast, sincerely appreciated. If you're checking this out on YouTube, do me a couple things. Check out the sponsor discount codes in the comments. Also, all Bears.
I'm on your mind now.
Exactly. All of Drew's contact information, where you can find him on the interwebs, will be up there. But do me a favor, man. If you like this stuff, subscribe. It helps out. Maybe another federal agency tactical unit will find me via this podcast as well. As far as the schedule, modernsamuraiproject.com, hit the classes button. It'll tell you where I'm going to be this year. If you're a host, please reach out. This year is pretty much booked all the way. I'm already booking stuff in September right now. So very, very, very blessed in that. And that is about it, man. So as usual, guys, the most important thing is be good, stay safe, get training.
Check out Gray Hive.
Check out Gray Hive.
Yeah.